Hello and good evening. It's the weekend, it's a Saturday evening, and it's time to sport on. Hi, I'm your host Shaju I Ignatius, and gives me great pleasure to bring you the third episode of our super series where we bring you a live engaging conversations with personalities, achievers, superstars from the sporting and experiential business. Hi and welcome everyone. It's great to see you guys on this wonderful Saturday. Welcome in Parth, Sanjana, Vikas, Sarvesh. It's good to see you all guys. Our weekly date and a kind of engaging conversations which we have to kind of bring light into what is going on in our sporting world. Hey Amit, good to see you. John T, Devanshi, welcome in. So now it's time to welcome our guest for today. He's a very popular face and voice of sports broadcasting in our country. He's been successfully presenting great sporting events for many years. Mr. Jatin Sapru, yes. He's been kind of at the thick and action of it for a lot of sports events, primarily cricket. And it's a great honor and pleasure for me to get Jatin online for you today. Jatin, if you can send me a link, I will add you in here. Jatin's had a very interesting journey from where he started off. Multiple domains and assets before where he is now. Hi Jatin, good evening mate.
Hi Shaju, how are you? Can you see me?
The visual is clear and your audio is clear.
Are we good now? Are we good? Oh yeah.
That's all right. You can hear me clearly, right Jatin?
I can hear you clearly. How are you, buddy?
Keeping well, keeping sporty and healthy, my friend, like what we've been doing for the last few months now.
I know, man. It's just been, I was just telling everyone who calls me, they're like, where are you? Are you in Mumbai? Are you in Goa? Are you in Delhi? For the last one and a half years, we've been, we've been traveling, trying to evade the hotspots of the virus. But I'm a very optimistic, positive guy, and I've just spent so much time with my family. Managed to spend so much time with my parents. So I just look at it, everything in some sort of positive, whatever I can.
Yeah, I think looking at it from a better light, right? It gives us an opportunity to spend time with our most loved ones, our family, and then we'll get back to our regular routine once again, right? When it's all good.
Correct. I mean, like we have a choice because it is scary. It's been a very scary time. In fact, I tell people, I saw my dad, he got a very major bout of COVID and he was being very careful. We've seen it up close and personal. We saw how good the health warriors are. Everyone, and just the importance of being vaccinated, staying safe, but now touch wood, by the grace of God, everything is good. And looking forward to the, I'm hoping it's the beginning of the end with the vaccination.
Absolutely, and like sports says, right, there's always a new dawn. You fight through it and you come out a winner, and we all collectively will.
Correct. I mean, what better than sports? It was very tough. When we did the first IPL after the pandemic, जो August September में हुआ था, that was good. From our broadcasters' point of view, when you're in the studio, there is a mindset, right? When you're happy about life, it comes across. So that pandemic was at that time, the first wave was on its way out, and that IPL was, happy moment for everyone. So we enjoyed it. But the IPL that eventually got postponed, it was getting very tough for everyone involved because the players, they were a little anxious. They had families outside the bubbles. People were getting infected. We had families outside. So that particular IPL, the first half of it was actually a little tricky, getting tricky. So I think a great decision was made. And now when we get back to sports, when sport comes back, Euro was great to see. Wimbledon was great to see. People in the stands. And sport, it gives people like a reason to smile. And what better way to inspire during dark times.
So true. And in the current scenario of a virtual world, right, we can connect and broadcast from wherever we are. Like you are up there in the hills but yet we are so connected to the world. Thanks
I
coming
was
on
मैं
board here.
वापस आ गया हिल्स में यार हिल्स में था मैंने वहां से 2-3 shows किए and the internet was so bad that eventually my team at Star Sports and some of the other events I was doing they're like sir वापस आ जाओ this work from home is a great idea but work from hills is not particularly great so I've come back to Delhi now so I'm again at home in
Great,
Delhi.
great, great. Back to the
So
base,
yeah,
yeah.
but good to see. I'm guessing a
So
lot of your students are here from IISM. Everyone else
a
is here.
lot
So
of
let me say good evening to everyone.
students, a lot of even sporting professionals here, and people who really want to hear your experiences, insights, Jatin, about how your journey has been. So if we might start, uh, first off, you always loved sports, right, Jatin? You used to be an athlete, like you played cricket, javelin, shot put. That's interesting. So was sports always a plan for you in your career that you wanted to be in the sporting ecosystem?
I'm very jealous of the youngsters who are in school right now because you know what's happened is the awareness around sports is so good that almost everyone in charge of हमारे टाइम पे क्या होता था एक games period होता था. So I was always
Right.
mad about sport, and I think I mentioned it somewhere. जब मैं पीछे मुड़ के याद करता हूँ, you know, which was the first cricket game that I saw? So we had a little black and white TV. उसके बाद there was a color TV, and my dad would watch it, and I would obviously say कि ये बंद करो नहीं देखना. I think it was in class 4 or 5, a very young kid. So India Zimbabwe का कोई एक match and my dad said no, sick. You know, now you're growing up, you play with उस टाइम bat ball होता है. You know, you just say bat ball खेलते हैं हम. So then he made me watch that game, and you know, I saw Sachin Tendulkar, I saw the others, and वहाँ से थोड़ा प्यार शुरू हुआ. Then गली मोहल्ले में we used to play cricket. But I was a kid on the heavier side. I was a fat kid growing up. So school में फिर सर क्या करते थे? वो करते थे अच्छा ये मोटा है, इसको ना short put
इसको
दे
दे
दो और
दो.
javelin दे दो कंधे में जान है. So that is how I actually started into shot put and javelin and all. I had a strong shoulder. And then cricket में जब मैं class 7 में I went for the trials. So हमारे जो coach होते थे उन्होंने बोला कि पहले तो तेरे को weight कम करना पड़ेगा. So I used to see वो zero period में everyone used to be in the nets और मैं चक्कर ही मारते रहता था. I used to just go round and round and round. And people would just be like, "Tu rehne de yaar." But I struggled my way into it. Class 8, I finally managed to start playing cricket for my school. Then I ended up playing zonals for Delhi, and then I went for a few under-16 trials and all of that. But class 11 के बाद my parents weren't very supportive. They're like, "थोड़ा पढ़ लो, engineering कर लो, that's more important." But yeah, and sport was love. You know, being on the sports field was liberation. And any sport, that was a good thing. जो भी sport मिलता था, I would just get into it. Used to watch every sport. In fact, वो video games आती थी, उसमें tennis होता था. And you know, people in your family and all didn't understand much beyond cricket. So I remember my mom used to be like, "Oh, तू tennis खेल रहा है, तू baseball खेल रहा है, video game में तेरे को rule भी पता है इन चीजों के." And I used to be like, "Sit here, I'll tell you the rules and all of that." So it was a very different environment, but sports was my liberation. You know, it's where I felt that I belonged. And yeah, it's been
What a beautiful, what a journey. I mean,
sports tragic.
yeah, sports kept you, yeah, you couldn't get over the domain of sports. It pulled you back, it got you back to, if not on the field, at least, getting us connected to the field. And thanks that, you came and you connected so many sporting streams for us, broadcasting so many events and hosting so many super events for us.
I consider myself lucky, you know. I mean, there were no IPLs or things weren't very clear. हमें पता ही नहीं होता था कि trials के लिए भी जाना है तो कैसे जाना है. Academy में honestly join करने के पैसे नहीं थे. So it's not that I could go to an academy and find a way to get through something. But I don't look back with any regrets because I'm still connected with the sport. And in fact, I mean, that's the greatest joy that I have in life, that I couldn't play it, but I'm doing the second best thing. And that's the only thing that inspires me to get out there every single day and just realize that there are millions of इतने यहाँ लोग होंगे, ये होगा, something you still want to do with sport because you love it. And now, thankfully, there are so many options, so many things you can do.
Absolutely. In fact,
you see this guy here, I'll tell you a story. There's this placebo effect that you're seeing now, where you're saying Jatin is full power. Since we'll be talking on this chat about different fields, how you can be connected. Now, that placebo effect is a guy called Priyadarshan Pardesi. I'll tell you about PD. He is loved by every Indian cricketer because he's one of the best floor managers we have in the broadcast industry. So I will tell you about PD when we talk about different avenues of things to do. If PD is not there, captains won't come out for the toss on time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm trying to catch some comments, but it's flying through like how you kind of host, right? So I'm going to take some questions maybe after a couple of questions I ask you. Today's a switch, Jatin, because you're the guy who's normally conducting it. I'm going to try my best to be on an angle to be able to kind of lead you on, right? This is not what I do for a living.
Yeah, but you've achieved so much in your field, Shaju. I mean, you've been a pioneer in events, and I have personally learned so much from the event space and the incredible work that you've done. I know this is going to be a bit of a cakewalk for you as well, so don't be modest. I know this will be a great session.
We dived in, when I dived in about almost 25 years back, Jatin, there was no event management, right? We were actually called party organizers, and then we kind of got a little recognition, acha, ye koi acha events organize karte, to where we are today, right? Experiential marketing, content creators. You had a stint with event management, I believe, as well, right? Somewhere in your early days. Tell us about that if you can.
I had a stint with everything. When I jumped out of engineering, and let me tell, a lot of youngsters are there and they want to talk about careers. I was clueless. If someone says, oh, this is what you always wanted to do, this is what you aspire to do, no. My confidence had taken a hit. I had no idea where I'm heading in life. I loved sport, but there was nothing that I could do in sport. But the one thing that I wanted was when I eventually wanted to try and find out what I wanted to do, socha fashion designing kar lete. New courses were coming up. Lekin clarity nahi thi.
Right.
Ka rasta nahi pata tha. And since our parents had also come from very humble beginnings, they just knew, okay, there's engineering, there's medical field, and then there are the government jobs. So it's not that they had a first-hand experience that they could guide you. So
right.
Events was something I took any and everything to earn 100 rupees or 500 rupees. And किसी ने बोला कि एक इवेंट हो रहा है, उसके पोस्टर्स लगाने पार्किंग लॉट में जाके हमने वो भी किया. एक फैशन वीक हो रहा था वहाँ पे, Nokia was the brand and they said we need a few people to take photographs and we'll put it up on our pages. वो भी किया. Then organized a lot of events. There were rock festivals that I used to attend, and then I started figuring out how tickets are sold. Things were all over the place, and people like you, proper event people, were trying to streamline it. So उसके बीच में जितने भी odd jobs आते थे ना, day jobs and all of it, मैंने सब की. I did everything. And हर एक job में कुछ ना कुछ सिखाया.
Super. Just like how when I started, Jatin, my first professional job was with Eureka Forbes. Direct sales, home to home, knocking on doors but what that taught me was how to open a door, a cold knock. And that always helps us. So I'm sure, like you said, every experience and every job helps you brick by brick for what you have to be. And then you had that calling, right? Sorry, you were saying something.
Correct. No, I was just saying, एक time पे ना, one of our friends from school, he was a whiz kid. He was big into computers, and हमारे time पे computers were just coming up. So उसने क्या किया? He actually learned a few of these languages, HTML, Java, and all. And class 11 से he became a web developer, and he became very successful. So during our break in class 11 or 12 के बीच में, a couple of our friends हमने बोला चल यार, let's do a little bit of business management for you. तो हम try करते हैं कि maybe we'll get people जो website बनाना चाहते हैं. उस time भी everyone wanted a website and no one had it.
Right.
So हम जाते थे Green Park Market एक दिल्ली में है, and we used to go कि बड़ी-बड़ी shops पे जाएंगे, अपनी files देके कि website कैसे बन सकती है and आप उससे कैसे benefit कर सकते हो. Tell you a very small thing that stays with me. हमें लगता था बड़े cool बच्चे हैं. So I wore a shirt और उसके अंदर एक t-shirt थी, and जाके एक ऑफिस में हम चले गए. So उसने इंटरव्यू तो नहीं दिया, लेकिन बंदा जो पास करा तो उसने जाते जाते बोला, I'll tell you one thing, if you're here for a marketing thing, you're here to do business, come dressed like someone who's serious about it. Now my idea was not to disrespect the field or how things work. We were just very naive. Right. We were just very young. And Shaju, believe me, that's something that always stayed with me. Whatever you're attempting to do, the first impression is, do you look the part? Are you presentable enough that you're here to mean business? So हम तो showbiz industry में है, but it could be true for anything. If you're going into
Absolutely.
a field, you have to first look the part and then comes your preparation. So small things that all these experiences teach you, right?
100%. I mean, for us, every event is a new event, right? You must have done many successful events. I mean, hundreds of events which I have done, but every new event gives me that extra energy and enthusiasm. Hey, we got to get this right.
Yeah.
And then in your time, sorry, I'm just checking some messages because I'm sure many of your followers and friends are here. I'm trying to kind of see if anybody has any special questions for you, but it's just flying through, Jatin, like I said.
I think they're asking a lot of questions have come about the India-Pakistan game, which is now going to be part of the World Cup. Then there is the India-Sri Lanka series, which is starting tomorrow. So I'm guessing everyone is just
Right.
waiting for a lot of good
Everyone has,
cricket that should be.
right. So guys, I'm going to request you to just hold on for another 10-15 minutes more, because then I want to open this up for many questions as you can. Somebody also said about, please talk about your weight loss, Jatin. We will come to that as well. I think we'll need about 2-3 episodes with you, Jatin, for all the questions we have here.
No, yeah,
But
I'm
it's
a
very
very boring guy.
important. But it's very important for us to know, and especially for the students, the professionals, that turning point in your career path. I think was it that talent hunt by Star Sports ESPN, where you kind of called in and the entire plan changed or brought in the new space for you?
Yes, I mean it was ESPN Star Sports back in the day, and they had a show called ESPN Dream Job. The first season of which was in 2004 and 5, which was Harsha ki coach. Harsha sir was obviously the main judge of that. Then they commissioned the season 2. But uske pehle, just when I was in college, I found my sort of calling, where I was just enjoying this field of journalism, broadcast, advertising, marketing, and everything. And third year of my college, this new company called Tangerine Digital was coming up
Right.
with mobile content. You know, एक टाइम पे होता था कि अगर आपके पास वोडाफोन एयरटेल है तो डायल 5445 फॉर कमेंट्री. तो उस टाइम पे कंटेंट
Right.
डेवलप होना शुरू हो रहा था. So I got an opportunity to go interview, to give an interview there, and I got picked up by this company, and I started doing mobile sports content. And then eventually it got bought over by Mobile ESPN, which is going to be a mobile wing of ESPN. They were trying it out. So wahan pe I got to fine tune my content writing skills, my voiceover skills. We used to do commentary for viewers who might tune in over the phone. So that was a great experience, because the stakes were not that high. You could commit mistakes, but you were getting a taste of the industry. कि आगे जाके बड़े setups में, you know, what are the challenges going to be? So that is where I started
Right.
learning a lot. I had my head there was this guy called Soumitra Bose, who is a renowned journalist. So he taught us a lot. And then when ESPN Dream Job came, I just got a feeling I didn't want to audition. I said, itne log aayenge and they'll be so good that I won't stand a chance. So I didn't want to audition. A colleague of mine forced me to audition. He's like, at least give it a shot. It's not that I had dreamt of being the next Harsha Bhogle or the next Alan Wilkins. I just thought they're far superior and I don't have the skills. I mean, they're still pioneers. You know, it'll probably take me years to even get close to what they've achieved. But I just then auditioned, and like I said, I looked the part when I went for the audition. I wore a suit, और उस दिल्ली ऑडिशन की लाइन में मैं खड़ा था और किसी ने डाले नहीं थे ऐसे सूट वूट, और मेरे को लग रहा था what an idiot. You know, it's so hot. It was August 18th, and when I walked in, Ravi Shastri was one of the judges, and he said, he's like, young man, before you start your audition, let me tell you, you've come here to audition for a presenter, and you've come looking like one.
The part,
like,
looking the part.
So I was like, you know, that thing came handy. तो मैं 2 घंटे जो बाहर वेट कर रहा था गर्मी में, एटलीस्ट, और एक ही सूट था जो स्कूल की कॉन्टी पे बनवाया था फेयरवेल पे, वो विंटर्स वाला सूट था, तो उसमें वैसे इतनी गर्मी लग रही थी. But that was a good start. So then one thing led to another. I ended up winning that, and that was a turning point, because I had no connections in the media industry. I knew absolutely no one. I had gone with my CV to so many news channels, and I had seen वो guard से आगे CV कभी निकला ही नहीं यार. So, but I was never disheartened, because I was doing all these chota jobs, and then eventually when ESPN came knocking, it was actually a dream job. And for the first few years, I was just learning there. It's not that I started hosting straight away. I was just learning, and now it's been 14 years to that wonderful time.
Brilliant. What a beautiful journey with the group, huh? And you never know, Jatin, like you said, you know, you thought that, okay, there's going to be hundreds out there. What are the chances? But this is what you and me can tell the world, right? To all the prospective students and professors. You never know what's calling. It was your destiny, but of course, a lot of hard work went in. A lot of sincere dedication, grounding, you know, your foundation which is required for where you are today. It's very easy for us to see and say, hey, he's so successful, yaar, bade acha kar raha hai, baat bahut acha karta hai. But I'm sure there must have been nervous moments during that first broadcast event which you did.
Yeah, I mean, I was very nervous. मैं semi-final की story बताता हूँ. इसके semi-final में we were meant to, India was on the tour to Australia. This is 2007 and 8. And before the tour started, एक warm-up game थी Junction Oval Melbourne में, जहाँ पे हम 4 semi-finalists गए थे, और वहाँ से हमको live show करना था. वहाँ का जो T-show था, that was meant to be a live show, and उस show में audience ने India से voting करनी थी. Now that game got rained out, but we were still going to go live. So when I was going live, I had the great Sunil Gavaskar to my left, I had the great Wasim Akram to my right, and first time there are cameras, and first time it was not an audition, it was not even studio rounds. You are broadcasting live to an audience back home, and this audience knows their sport. This audience has habits. Audience has habits. They will not like you immediately, and any wrong move when you're done. So जब डायरेक्टर की कान में आवाज आ रही थी ना 10, 9, 8, मैं तो पहले वैसे सनी सर, वसीम सर, I hope I don't embarrass myself, I hope I ask you the right question. मेरा माइक नहीं पकड़ा जा रहा था मेरे से हाथ में यार. As soon as the director said, Jatin, you're live on air.
You're
and I had
live.
the mic in my hand like this, and this hand was shaking. So I put my other hand on the mic to control it. And my director, this wonderful Deepak Gupta, he's like, Jatin, take one hand off the mic. Just use one hand. It's time to be confident. And he was pepping me up. And वो कैसे खत्म हो मेरे को वो शो कुछ याद ही नहीं है. It's just a blur. I have no idea what I asked Sunny Bhai. I have no idea what I might have asked Wasim. And it just finished and I was just like, wow. When you're live on air, कानों से धुएं निकलते हैं really. And that
Which
was
nobody sees. You're going through it. Only you know what you're going through.
But then after I got the job, my first assignment actually was this football tournament called IFA Shield. जिसके लिए मैंने जिस दिन ज्वाइन किया उन्होंने बोला आप कैलकाटा जाओ आप फुटबॉल कर रहे हो. मैंने सर मुझे तो लगा था मैं क्रिकेट करने आया, but I always wanted to be a sports presenter. I used to look up to Alan Wilkins because he could do any and every sport, and I used to follow all sports. So I was like, great, football. So I went for it. Mohan Bagan were playing this club called FC Santos at Barasat Stadium. There are some 40,000 passionate fans in Bengal, and when I was going to do the halfway point, the mid show, मैंने वो शो के ब्रेक से 5 मिनट पहले मेरा कंटेंट खत्म हो गया तो मैं चुप हो गया. लाइक ओके लेट्स गो टू अ ब्रेक एंड आई एम लुकिंग एट दैट कैमरा फॉर 3 seconds and it felt like a lifetime. I was like ये धरती फट जाए मैं इसमें समा जाऊं. I have committed a crime. I have no idea. So there are a lot of these moments. I mean, I was terrible in front of the camera. I still think I am. I still don't like watching my shows because I'm so critical. I look at my shows, the recordings, we do everything live. So I look at my shows and I'm like, क्या बोल रहा है यार? You could have done this better. You could have done that better. So I'm very critical. I don't like myself on air. I'll be honest. Like a lot of people, I'm sure they hate me on air.
No, I'm sure we all love it. We all love the energy you bring on. I think there's a little trick in there, right? The more we see, we want to always improve, Jatin. That's what is it. The trying to be a perfection, that's what happens to us. And you've been doing that for so long. Thank you for all those beautiful broadcasting hours you brought for all of us as viewers. Yeah, really.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you. I just hope it continues. I mean, there's still so much to learn because now broadcasting is changing. Broadcasting, a lot of youngsters are there. काफियों को घर पे बैठ के लगता है कि यार ये क्या बात कर रहे हैं, ये किसकी बात कर रहे हैं, ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. But they need to know when they'll come into the field, they'll realize that every single show that is presented is not just what you see is what you get. There are so many different challenges. There are so many different content plans, right? Every show is like a movie. There is a producer, there is a director. I mean, we're not given a script, but there is someone who's the storyteller, right? He's picked up that we'll talk about this story for these many minutes. We'll talk about this story for these many minutes. And it's just not very easy कि दिख रहा है क्या बात कर रहे हो. ये तो पहुंच जाते होंगे स्टूडियो में अंदर जाके बातें करते हैं. So there is obviously a lot that goes behind broadcasts, and now people want more. People want different things because हम जब थे उस टाइम में सिर्फ टीवी था, सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स आते थे, तो आपको कोई चारा नहीं था. Now, so you can't just give them the same content. Their behavioral patterns of absorbing sport is changing. So you just have to keep thinking what different can you do.
Right, you've got to constantly improvise and innovate, right, in this new environment. In fact, Jatin, what you're saying is so important that, like you said, when during your early times or even now a few years back, there was no professional teaching, right? Forget broadcasting, even in sports management, there was no professional courses. And today, thankfully, a lot of institutes and, organizations are out there trying to impart teaching, like what IISM is doing, a full-scale bachelor's in sports management. We've started a PG in sports event management, where we're trying to say, you need to have the foundation of sports and sports management, and then you can specialize in various verticals. You want to be a sports agent, you want to be a marketer, you want to go into broadcasting, like yourself, be a broadcaster or a presenter. So we kind of give them those options. What are your thoughts on that? The importance of sports education.
It's a great time to be 17, 18 now. once, I'm sorry, I'm just struggling with my phone's battery. Because the world is your oyster quite literally. You know, the world has understood, the job sector has understood that आप जो पढ़ लिख के रट के पेपर में दे के आते हो उसकी वैल्यू काफी कम है. आपकी ओरिजिनल
Right.
स्किल सेट क्या है उसकी वैल्यू अब समझ गए लोग. Right? So if you think, listen, I might not have been good in subjects, but I have a very good skill set. I think I'm great at communication. You don't have a subject called literally communication in any of your boards, but it's a great field to be part of. You might have a very creative bent of mind. You've got advertising, you've got events, you just got online curation. I mean, you could be a YouTuber and be earning crores. What does that take? It takes a phone, it takes a few ideas, it takes a little editing. So you could right now put your finger on anything that you're good at and you have an avenue where you can make the most of it. So sports pe agar aate hue, all athletes now, everything is streamlined. Ye sab pehle bhi hota tha, now what's happened, it's streamlined. So what IISM is doing is phenomenal, right? You're making people understand how the sports marketing industry works. An athlete, kis time pe that athlete, you sort of figure out, is this the athlete you want to sign up? Then how do you brand the athlete? How do you market the athlete? You could get into, if you're into science, if you're into the medical part of it, there is sports science, whether it's the mental side of it, whether it's the physical side of it, whether you're into broadcasting, whether you're into marketing the broadcast, right? There's media marketing, there is media buying, there is media advertising. Right. And there is the technical side of things. You know, you could be the closest to your heroes as a camera person on the field. And camera people are paid very handsomely. They have, I mean, everyone who works on a sports broadcast is respected because it's a great skill set. There are engineers who are part of the stadium. They set up the stadium, right? Because everything you see in the broadcast is engineering. So there are so many avenues today that people have. And it's just about guiding them in the right direction. So I'm so happy when I see these kids, when I see avenues like IISM, I'm like, yaar, kash hamare paas ye options hote.
Kash hamare time hota.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
But it's great. You know, I'm just happy. I'm jealous nahi hu. Apna to matlab patta fit ho gaya, right? But I'm just very happy.
Yeah, so many more opportunities for the, like you said, to be a 17, 18-year-old. Or for that matter, you know, Jatin, it's interesting. Some peers or, you know, junior colleagues from the industry are thinking of, you know, there are some of their family members who are thinking of switching to the experiential marketing business. They might be, like you said, I know a lot of engineers. In fact, one of my ex-colleagues was an electronic engineer who switched to event management 10 years back, 15 years back. So a lot of professionals are switching careers, and sports is what I would call the sunrise industry, right? We are just about rising. During last year's shutdown and COVID times, sporting events was the first event to kind of happen, right, globally. I remember when the first football match was broadcast live, I was like so excited. Finally, we have something great to consume. Of course, apart from entertainment and films and series, right? So the sporting industry and sporting events has actually globally brought in a great impetus to our action on field as well, right?
It has. And so let me try and streamline it. You know, let me just try and break it down to a lot of people joining in. First, from my side of it, there is journalism. I tell people, मतलब journalism में अगर आपका interest है, sport is a beat in journalism, right? Journalism has crime, journalism has law, journalism has politics, journalism has sport, journalism has health, business, everything. But if you get into one of these courses and you've got an aptitude for it, don't come in with your blinkers on. कि मैं यहाँ पे sports journalism या journalism college में जा रहा हूँ और मेरे को बनना है TV presenter. That is a wrong way, wrong approach. What I say is, if you're entering this field, you'll realize when you get into sports journalism and mass communication as it's called, you'll realize that there are probably 20 job opportunities, and over those 3 years, you should be exploring your skill set to figure out in 20 mein, where would I actually work the best. And what happens is, if you go with a single point agenda कि मेरे को तो सिर्फ television reporter बनना है, journalist बनना है, आप इतनी सारी चीजें miss out कर जाओगे. So that's why I tell people, say journalism में जाके क्या can we become a presenter? There's no guarantee. In the 3 years that I was in college, I didn't put my finger on the television and say I want to be here. I was very happy holding the camera. I was very happy learning editing. We produced our own college newspaper. We used to produce radio shows. We were just kids fascinated by technology, by the aura, and by the possibilities. that you can do whatever you want. But then you realize that content is king. You have to be honest about whatever you do. But don't just limit yourself कि हम तो इस फील्ड में आ रहे हैं ये करने के लिए. वो फील्ड में आओ और उस फील्ड से 3 साल के बाद पूछो कि किस में हम बेस्ट होंगे. That field is there to tell you that the possibilities are endless.
It's almost like looking at being an all-rounder, right? At the early moment, kind of hone your skills in as much fields as possible before you focus on, okay, this is probably the domain or vertical I want to specialize in some form.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to, I'm sure Sachin Tendulkar, when he made his debut, he didn't say after his first game that मैं तो 100 hundreds मार के 200 test matches खेलने के बाद ये field छोड़ूंगा, वो मेरा target है. No, you come in and you enjoy your small targets, right? Okay, I want to play for my country. So when you get into it, you say, okay, I want to get into print media, or I want to get into broadcast media. And then you keep evolving, then you keep learning, and then you keep changing your targets. Because if you have a big target, you look at a small establishment. Like I tell people, जब internships होती थी हमारे time पे, most of the big news channels में जो हमारे colleagues internship करने गए थे ना, वो वापस आके कहते थे कि हमने तो सिर्फ photocopy किया, हमने अपने seniors के लिए चाय बनाई, और हमने बैठ के सिर्फ देखा कि PCR चलते कैसे हैं. So when my internship came, I actually went to a very small channel जिसका किसी ने नाम भी नहीं सुना था. It ran out of a small house, a bungalow in City Fort Road. And वहाँ पे everyone just gave सब interns को काम. ये कल script है, teleprompter चलाना सीखो. कल हमारा यहाँ पे shoot है, जाके coordination करो, audience तैयार करो, कैमरा की cassettes ready रखना, उसके बाद बैठ के editor के साथ पूरे video का dump लो, prepare the show. So it was great. While we didn't know anything, no one expected a lot out of us because the pressure was not high. But those 3 months, you just ended up learning so much. But अगर मन में होता नहीं कि हमने तो Star Sports और ESPN में सिर्फ presenter बनना है, then you look at these opportunities and say कि यार ये opportunity थोड़ी है मेरे लिए. So there is no opportunity when you're studying, when you're exploring where you want to be, which is small. And I think this is the difference. Whenever I meet a lot of people right now who've achieved so much in life, they have come through the ranks. They have taken every step और वो हर काम को भगवान मानते हैं. That does not change.
बिल्कुल. And nothing better than what taught us last year, right? Everything came to a standstill and yet we had to innovate. Like what you did, an interesting series, I was checking that on Insta, ASAP with JSAP, right?
Yes.
You said, okay, ab kya? And you had almost everyone on that.
सब लॉकडाउन में बैठे थे, तो हमने चलो कुछ करते हैं, let's entertain people, let's have a chat. And it was just purely for fun. It was just, to do something different, keep the cricket content going. I'll tell you, there is a lot of pressure. I mean, now you have to figure out here when there is a downtime, how do you keep producing? Content is always the king, but now it's so easy to produce content. So you have to make sure that there is still some quality that comes through it. But like I said, आज आपके पास idea है और अच्छा idea है, तो आप कहीं पढ़े हो नहीं पढ़े, आपके पास डिग्री है या नहीं है, you're going to make it big.
It's almost a necessity, like roti, kapda, makan and content. We wake up with that mobile phone in our hand, we go to sleep with saying goodnight to the mobile phone more than our partners in life.
Even if someone does not have roti, kapda or makan, they will have a phone and content on it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So great. There was a phase of when sports became commercial in our country, right? And you were in the thick of it. Because, like you rightly said, 20 years back, 10 years back, it was still only those couple of channels. And then came the emergence of sporting leagues, IPL at the onset, and then, at Star, you all had Pro Kabaddi League. And you were at the hot seat of both these leagues in terms of presenting. How did you see that change happen across the country? Because a lot of brands came in, the commerce went up, the players had some great, exciting careers being lined up. Tell us about what you saw that.
To be honest, things just opened up in terms of the streams that were going out. So I think, there are so many good people who had not got the opportunity, maybe like a dream job or something else. There was just more on offer, So from a broadcast point of view, the emergence of these leagues and what Star Sports has done is brilliant, right? They're giving now content to people in their own languages. So regional commentary gives an option to so many people to come and do commentary, to come and do shows in their own language, right? To broadcast that content to the households. But the greatest joy was to see more and more sports get the recognition. Because कभी-कभी जो आप सिर्फ cricket करते हो other sports, I've covered the Olympics during 2012, the London Games, I was there. I've covered 10-pin bowling. I've done motorsports. I've done tennis. I've done badminton. If you only do cricket, there is this feel of other sports are like, yeah, the main cream is only for cricket. But thankfully with these leagues, you saw other sports people who work as hard, who have the
True.
same shelf life, get these opportunities. So someone who just is very happy when sports does well. I was happy that so many different sports are getting recognition. Like Kabaddi, for example. You know how the Kabaddi League make these guys superstars. It's a sport that our country is proud of. But then it became like a rage. There is a football league, there is a badminton league. But it's very important. I think it's important ये हो जाता है that money always still has to be secondary. Money will only come when the quality of the sport is great, when people are true to it. But it opens up avenues. So I still think, for a lot of youngsters, maybe someone is good at cricket, but is not finding an opening in cricket. But if you love sports, I'm sure you'll be able to learn a kabaddi, learn a football, and maybe get an opening to do a football or kabaddi somewhere. Idea is to be close to sport, right? So the ecosystem is opened up for athletes, it's opened up to stakeholders, it's opened up to brands. There is money, but Shaju, like I said, anyone who's an aspiring youngster, money should be the last thing on your mind. If you're entering this field to make money, either as a sportsman or as a broadcaster or as a technician, you have to be in this field for the joy of it. Because this could be frustrating. Right. There are long hours. There is not money at the start. There is not recognition, fame at the start. So if you're coming in this field, कि हमें तो famous होना है, हमें तो पैसे कमाने हैं, हमें तो बड़े channel में काम करना है, not your field. You have to give it time.
True that.
So come for the love of it, and if you're good, you'll get there.
Come for the love of it. You said it right. Come for the passion of it. I still say, if somebody asks me what job do you do, I say I'm enjoying my work. The day it becomes a job for me in this business of experiential marketing or entertainment or sports, I think the load will come in. So you're so true. There's a question here, which if I may pick up. Saumitro asks, how does one enter this field when one is mid-career in another field? Is there something you can put a light on this, if it's possible?
I get this a lot, and मैं एक realistic point of view से ये देखता हूँ कि, yeah, this field is very appealing. I can understand if maybe right now I had a 9-to-5 job and I love the sport as much. मैं भी टीवी को देख के जो भी कर रहा हूँ बोलता है यार इससे अच्छा तो मैं ही कर लूँगा. I can do this. Why am I doing this, right? But if you're doing very well in your field, at some point, एक age पे आके you have to get the formula right. Am I doing well in life? Am I settled? Or am I in a position to take a risk कि ये सब चले जाएगा तो मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I am still settled enough to experiment. If you can do that, give it a shot. But if you think, you've got bills to pay, you have a family to take care of, and you think that it might not be worth the risk, that I might not be able to come back in my field and resume from where I am right now, then I say, don't, explore your passion, start up your own YouTube channel, have a chat show on YouTube, have a podcast, enjoy it still. But if you're willing to take the risk, you have to know कि जो opportunities मिलती हैं वो बहुत लंबे time के बाद मिलती हैं. A lot of people will ask, how do I get into commentary? I don't know. I have been in this field for 14 years, and it's only the last 2 or 3 years that it's a gradual progression I've made into commentary. It does not come as कि अच्छा CV दीजिए आप commentary कर सकते हैं नहीं. For cricket, it's just so is anyone willing to give 10 to 12 years? Are you willing to take that risk? You have to keep in mind it will not come in immediately. Everyone who is on a broadcast on cricket, football, any big sport, they have been in the field for at least 10 years.
True. And hence, therefore, a head start is very important. But if somebody is looking at a kind of a mid-career switch, I think if you contact IISM, they'll be able to guide you on how to do it well.
Yeah, like I said, if you think it's worth the risk, if you think it is not going to affect where you are in life, and it's like saying it's a detour. अगर नहीं हुआ तो मैं diversion से यहाँ वापस आ जाऊँगा, and यहाँ से तो मेरा गाड़ी आगे चलता रहेगा. Then go for it. True. Don't have regrets.
Right.
But figure out where you stand in life and whether it's worth the risk or not.
Right. Now I'm going to go back to the valley, right? You were born in the beautiful Kashmir. That life, the childhood, your influence, your family and friends to where you are today. What memories you have of your childhood from there that, that okay, where am I going to go from here to where you are today? Any flashback memories from those early days?
All from photographs. I was very young. I was very young. I was literally 3 years old when my parents were in Delhi on a vacation, and that's the time that terrorism was at its peak in Kashmir. And I mean, I've seen photographs. I've seen myself sitting under cherry trees, playing in the garden, going out for walks with my grandfather. Of course, Kashmir is beautiful. It is still very close to my heart. I don't get to go there that often, but we never went back. So the next time I went to Kashmir was in 1999. So our family never went back because of the unfortunate circumstances there.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, I saw my grandparents, my father. They obviously don't have my grandparents anymore, but my father used to miss it a lot. But I again just looked at it from a positive way of life.
The
right?
movement.
Maybe this is what the plans that God had for me. If maybe I was in Kashmir, would I have this opportunity? Maybe not. Maybe I would have been doing something completely different. But yeah, so very, very few memories. I wish I could have spent more time. I still wish. And up Vaise, it's beautiful. And I'm so glad so many more people get to go to the valley. They're wonderful people. There's great food. And it's paradise on earth, yeah.
It is truly a paradise. A very dear friend of mine, Gautam Rode, I mean, he went there for a shoot to Srinagar and Pahalgam a couple of weeks back. He was telling me stories of how it's still, I said, yeah, it is absolutely magical, right? That city. I remember going there in 2013. That was the last time I went there. Yeah. To Jatin, the one in school, like you said, who was probably more on the healthier side, to the Jatin today, fit and fine, right? What happened where the fitness mantra got into your life, and how did you manage that?
Yeah, first start with, I was just very excited that I've gotten this opportunity. I wasn't really doing the main shows on ESPN, और मैं जाके on ground reporting वगैरह करता था. But in 2011, I was there on India Store of England, and I just looked at myself. I looked at some of the clips that I'd recorded, some of the stories I'd recorded, and see, thankfully, sports is not really an appearance field. मतलब हम लोग looks की वजह से तो काम करते हैं. So it always believed that you need to be strong in your content, you need to be strong in the language you broadcast in, and it's your work. It's not really your appearance that matters, and it should not matter. It's a content field, it's not a looks field, but it's still a visual medium. And your confidence when you're standing in front of some of the fittest athletes, and you're on TV and you're wearing something that fits you well, it's just your own self feels so much better. So I looked at some of my clips and I was like, nahi yaar, if I want to do this in the long run, it's a visual medium and I need to respect it. And then I changed my habits. Then I got better about eating food, about sleep cycle, about workout. It was like sports की बात कर रहे हैं, कभी आप fitness की बात करते हो, किसी athlete के साथ कुछ record करते हो, आपसे 10 मीटर भागा नहीं जाता. So you're never going to just be there. So I just got into it. My wife now, my girlfriend back then, she was always a lot into, living life the right way, about schedules, about eating well. So she inspired me. And then it just became a habit. You get there 21 days and then you do something for 2-3 months and then it becomes a habit.
It's an auto mode.
It's an auto mode. So then you just realize, a year or two later, I'm looking at myself on air and just feeling good about it. And the camera comes on. I still don't think I look good. I mean, I don't care. But you have to be presentable. You have to feel good about yourself to enjoy it yourself. अगर मैं खुद ही अपना show enjoy नहीं कर रहा, I'm constantly worried about other things, then you're not focusing on everything. I still say it's not an appearance based medium, but it's just good in life. Everywhere you go, it's good when you feel good about yourself. So that's how fitness came about. And ऐसी कोई विराट कोहली वाली मेरी crazy transformational story नहीं है. मैंने कभी चावल रोटी वोटी कुछ छोड़ा नहीं. I just started doing things in moderation. Moderation, that's
Fair
it.
Fair enough. You're being too modest about your followers. There are enough followers out there, and I'm sure the girls out there have another view about how you look and how you conduct yourself.
I get very embarrassed. Shaju, मेरे को अभी भी ना realize नहीं होता. Why would anyone want a photo with me? Why would anyone want a picture with me or anything? Because in my head, I'm someone who's, like the voice of fans. I have this opportunity and I try and deconstruct what's going on the screen. So I'm not a celebrity. Like it's a word that I don't like because it's a word that is sold very cheaply around the world. Being a celebrity, you could do anything and become a celebrity. You could, for all you know, be in the news for the wrong reason and you become a celebrity. So I just tell people, listen, I'm just one of you. living my dream, and I don't know why would anyone follow me for the heck of it. But I just try and put out the right things that I believe in, the right way of living life as much as I can. I mean, I have a lot of faults in my own, but कोशिश करते.
No, more power to you, Jatin. I think the right word would be to be a great influencer, which you are, and you're spreading the great light of how to go for it and excel in this field. If there are any questions we could pick up from here, there was somebody who was asking you what's your
question that I'd seen. Someone is talking about the preparation that goes behind. So let me deconstruct. Start of the tournament, say the IPL is about to start, or there's any match. There is a running order which is prepared to producer banata hai, right? I mean, let me just say, there is a producer, show producer का होता है. So producer show बनाते हैं, 1 घंटे का अगर show है, so वो show divided होगा, ऊपर introductions होंगे, you set up the context, आज का match कहाँ पे है, उसका importance क्या है, then you start getting into subplots, different topics. So when I prepare for a game, it's literally you're going through every single player who's going to be playing. When you keep doing this every day, you anyways know whatever's happening around the world. So even when you're not watching, like right now, I'm not covering any cricket, but I have to know what's happening in the England-Pakistan game. I have to know what's happening between South Africa and Ireland, what's happening between Australia and West Indies, because whenever you are going to cover any of these games, you need to know what happened. Then you figure out the stat, we get a stat pack, you go through numbers that will come in handy, you go through playing conditions. I don't really prepare a lot of lines. I usually prepare an opening for my show. You prepare some good, interesting conversations around the main topics, like whether it's Virat, whether it's Rohit, whether it's Bumrah, or a good head-to-head battle. You prep and all of this. So roughly, I do spend about 3 to 3.5 hours overall preparing for 1 day of work. And then when a tournament starts, you're constantly in preparation mode. It's not that you switch off. So there is a lot of preparation, but my keys that I tell people, there's another good question, how do you overcome negative emotions? And I'll talk about it because we live in the world of social media. The key to preparation is content. It's a sport. You can't lie to the sport. You cannot not know the sport. Second most important thing is the language you broadcast in. चाहे आप इंग्लिश में कर रहे हो, चाहे आप हिंदी में कर रहे हो, चाहे आप पंजाबी, तमिल, तेलुगु, वो लैंग्वेज पे आपका कंट्रोल बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए. And you need to know कि what do the fans like. You will not make everyone happy. कोई फैन आके गाली देके जाएगा, गाली की तो हमें आदत हो गई है. But you will not make everyone happy. But एक चीज ज़हन में होनी चाहिए कि are you answering the basic questions? कि सबको सब कुछ समझ आ रहा है. Television is not like newspaper. आपने कोई बड़ा जबरदस्त सा word बोल दिया and people are like ये क्या बोला इसने समझ नहीं आया. Newspaper में you can go back to that word and say, oh, I'll open the dictionary and see. Television, you have to keep it simple. So you have to know, what does my audience want from it? What are their emotions? How can I make them feel even better about what they're doing or what they're watching? So these are things that go into preparation. And abhi kisi ne pucha, how do you not let negativity affect you? Yeah, I actually want to say, I was also one of those people, जब हम सिर्फ fan थे तो चलते फिरते किसी को बोल दिया कि अरे यार ये क्या प्लेयर है, ये क्या खेल रहा है, ये क्या टीवी पे कर रहा है. But now just realize कि हर बंदा जो काम करता है ना उसके पीछे कई challenges होते हैं जिनके बारे में हमें पता ही नहीं. We don't know what that person's going through. Just when you're on air does not mean that, hey, your life is great, you're having a great day, and it is you. I have an entire PCR. There could be things going wrong there. There could be technical glitches. We might be covering up for something that's gone wrong. So don't just judge everyone and just put out gali maar do isko, this and that. I think we need to be in a society where negativity now needs to be accountable for. You can't just have an ID and personally go and abuse someone and happily live your life. I don't get affected. I've gotten used to it. I'm thick-skinned. But there are people jinke dimag mein chad jata hai. Shaju, you know it. You probably know a lot of celebrities from events who start thinking about
them.
this negativity. They go into a shell. Right. It starts affecting their work. And this negativity is coming from people who don't even know what goes behind the entire work that they're doing. So I think people need to now get accountable for this negativity, and there needs to be a balance.
Yeah, a human emotion. Just let's get human.
Is here. A very good evening to Parthiv Patel, who has found time from his cooking. He's spending some great family time. He's again a fabulous broadcaster we have now. और पार्थिव भी बताएंगे. He's an expert. सिर्फ हम prepare नहीं करते. जो experts आते हैं, they also prepare. they also, it's not just you land up. Great broadcasters, whether you're a former
Absolutely.
cricketer or whatever,
Right.
they prepare. And Parthiv is he's a rock star
At
and a
it, yeah.
half.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't know what goes behind it, right? It seems so simple. You're out in the studio, you wear no suit and you're just talking, but I'm sure all of you do a lot of hard work and research before you actually get onto that studio, right? So thank you, Parthiv, for joining us here. In fact, I'm going to ask you something, Jatin. Sports is live experience, right? It's in the thick of live broadcasting happening. Have you ever had a moment where something's not gone right? And then how do you cope up with it? Have you had any such experience?
I don't like shows जहाँ पे कुछ गलत नहीं होता यार. My producer, if anyone of them is here, they'll be like, क्या बकवास कर रहा है यार? But honestly, as a presenter, what is your challenge? हमारे सामने teleprompter नहीं होता. Sports में there's no teleprompter. It's not like news reading. So content is something that you're making. So I'm always listening to my producer who is talking to 5 other people, and they have to put out the visuals, they have to put out the graphic. कभी कोई graphic गलत चले जाता है, कभी कोई गलत visual चल सकता है, कभी suddenly the camera can go off, और किसी का audio mic खराब हो जाता है. Or sometimes you might see something sensitive, right? Some sensitive content on the field, and you have to be very careful because there is the legal aspect to it. You can't say something wrong. You usually try and keep politics, religion, and all these things aside from sports. So that's the thing. बहुत बार हुआ यार, when the experts lost audio, where you've lost audio. कितनी बार होता है कि आप कैमरा पे देख रहे हैं that someone is getting ready, you're listening to our voices, but पीछे में you're figuring out mic कहाँ गिर गया, पीछे से कोई कैमरा मूवमेंट गलत हो गई. काफी बार आप गलत VT पे थ्रो कर देते हो. Like my producer tells me, okay, we're not going to story where Rohit Sharma's, we'll see his World Cup knocks, and I throw to it, and maybe there's a Virat Kohli package that runs. Then you have to come back and correct yourself. This is the charm of live broadcast.
Thinking on your feet, right? The presence of mind.
Yeah, and you learn a lot. I've learned a lot. There is obviously a video that everyone's seen where Shoaib once got very upset with me live on the set, which was just a little misunderstanding because of the cameras and all of that. But it's live on air, and one of your experts is not happy. How do you control that? It's great.
Right.
There are no retakes.
And those are learnings.
Most about
yeah, exactly. One take, right? You're on it. 3, 2, 1 live, and then that's what. Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? It's been almost an hour. We are 5 minutes down to countdown. Jatin, there's so much I still want to ask you, but due to lack of time, like I said, I'm going to bring you back to another episode.
Parthiv has reminded me a story. Me and Parthiv were actually talking on the show. We are talking about some cricketing conversation, and TV pe visuals chal rahe the. And Parthiv's tie was all over the place. So while we're talking about it, I was sorting his tie out, getting it right. And while we're talking, I'll put out some behind the scenes next time. हमारे studio से क्या क्या होता है? बहुत कुछ होता है. Some things we can put out, some things we can't. We have a lot of fun.
I think we need something like that, right? In the B-roll, it should be about behind the scenes, like how the Jackie Chan movies used to be, right? After the movie, in the credits scroll, they used to give things which would, and in fact, for Star Sports, it's just something I wanted to ask you. I hope they come back again with a talent hunt where hopefully many more aspirants can get a shot at it.
I hope so, but we have so many youngsters who now come and work for us. We have a great talent team. They are constantly auditioning people. But like I always tell people, you'll still need some body of work. So मैं तो ये बोलता हूँ, अपना YouTube channel बनाओ, reviews खुद करो, अपने दोस्तों के साथ chat shows करो. उससे क्या होता है, अंदर की एक झिझक खुल जाती है. So when you come to Star Sports, you'll have to be a step up from being an amateur because the stakes are very high. So now you can be more than an amateur at home. वो झिझक खुल सकती है. IISM, you have so many courses, so many exercises for kids to do. So, but I sincerely do hope that there are more of these talent hunts. I love when a youngster comes through. मेरे को काफी लोग अपने वीडियोस भेजते हैं, सर ये मैंने रिकॉर्ड किए. देखिए बहुत अच्छा लगता है यार हमारे पास, क्योंकि हमारे टाइम पे कैमरा फोन्स भी नहीं होते थे यार शाजू. We couldn't even just record, we couldn't even learn this. हम तो शीशे के आगे न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ के प्रैक्टिस करते थे.
Yeah, and now in a digital world, everybody has that opportunity to at least attempt, put out your videos, put out your work out there, right, for all of us to consume.
Go all out.
Yeah, golden words, Jatin, from you. I'm sure a lot of viewers here have picked up some very key moments, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to write into you. I can see some comments where they're going to reach out to you on Instagram for more insights from you.
They're always welcome. मैं कोशिश करता हूँ जितनों को try कर सकूँ बात करने की. I mean, I'm literally, like I said, I'm no celebrity. I'm just another kid who loved sports, who got this opportunity. I love it. And whatever I've learned, I'm very happy to just keep passing that information on to all the youngsters. And I'm hoping to see a few of them sitting next to me or replacing me. आगे चलते हुए, whatever.
Absolutely. In fact, that leads us on, right? Then you can then progress to maybe what? Producing, creating more content as well as a producer.
Maybe सब retire करके I'm gonna settle in a jungle. पार्थिव पटेल के बड़े से अहमदाबाद के प्लॉट के बाहर मैं छोटी सी जगह में लेके छुप जाऊंगा और वहां से सारा कंटेंट कंज्यूम करूंगा.
Okay, so before we sign off, it is the Olympics month, right? And as something which we could all understand from you, you're a sports fan. What are the chances of India at the Olympics in terms of a medal hope? And then we can sign off the session.
I was just working on a show. I mean, I'll first say 2012 Olympics जो मैंने cover किए थे, it remains by far the greatest sporting event I've covered. World Cups, when you're at a World Cup, you're obviously just one match where you can lift the trophy. But I was there when Gagan Narang won his medal. I was there when Mary Kom won her medal. I was there when Saina Nehwal won her medal. I was there when Vijay Kumar won his medal. So it's just unbelievable. जो Olympics में होता है ना, and then if you see the tricolor, it is great. So I think we can better our medal haul of 6 because our shooters are phenomenal. I'm expecting about more than probably the medals that we won total in London. We'll probably win more of them just in shooting. There is Saurabh Chaudhary, there is Manu Bhakar, there is Ila Velarivan. So that's phenomenal. Then we've got some boxers. There is Amit Panghal, who's a story in himself. Mary Com's last Olympics, so I'm hoping she has another golden finish.
She can give us.
I'm very, very hopeful that we're going to have the best Olympics yet.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And on that note, as we approach our finale lap, I think we're a minute away. Jatin, thank you so much for giving us your time. Yeah, some great thoughts and your experiences. On behalf of everyone at IISM, special love from Nilesh and Rasika and the entire team and management. Of course, from the students who have all queued in here, thank you so much for your time today. But
my pleasure. Happy to do this. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it in person at a more opportune moment when things are better. I would just like to just request everyone to be careful against this virus. Get your vaccine. Keep your loved ones safe, and just enjoy the journey, guys. It is a great opportunity that all of us have to be living in times where, like we've discussed, just with the digital mediums, you can explore so many opportunities. So just keep learning. Have a blast. गालियाँ कम दो social media पे और अच्छा content ज़्यादा बनाओ.
Spread positivity, good health and smiles as you always have spread it for us as well, right?
Good vibes. Many best wishes to all the students of IISM and everyone else who's tuned in.
Thank you once again, and
you,
love
Shah.
and regards to the family. Stay healthy.
Likewise,
keep inspiring
likewise.
us. I'll see you soon again in the physical form. Until then, here's all the very best to our Indian team at the Olympics and to all our sporting teams across the globe. The very best wishes. Thank you, Jatin, once again.
Yes. See you, Shaju. Thank you, Nilesh. Bye. Great opportunity. Take care.
Bye. So guys, that was Jatin. Some great thoughts and experiences which came out from him. Thank you for tuning in today. To all of you, I'm sorry I couldn't read out most comments. It was just flying through. But Jatin had all the right words and thoughts what you could pick up from for today's session. Keep tuning in, and we shall come back to you very soon with another episode of Sport On. Until then, like I say, stay sporty, stay healthy. See you guys. Have a great weekend.